Look Up TV.
Welcome. It is the 7th day of July 2021, exactly 31 years since the first Sabasaba March. Now, this was the second liberation struggle for freedom. And now, 31 years later, today in the streets of Nairobi, police arrested residents of Nairobi as they were marching towards State House in order to mark the Sabasaba Day. And that and much more in our bulletin on trending news. But first, let's have the highlights. 31 years since the nationwide protest, Kenya marks Sabasaba Day. A candidate withdraws from race as IEBC begins interviews for commissioners ahead of the 2022 general elections. And Kenya signs a 48 billion global grant fund for TB and malaria initiatives. The hashtag is trending news at Lookup TV on Twitter, Lookup TV on Facebook. And you can also engage with me using the SMS number 20374. I'd like to pick your thoughts on this Sabasaba Day, 31 years later on. What are your thoughts on that? Let's begin the bulletin. A candidate has withdrawn from IEBC commissioner interviews. Abdallah Mohammed will no longer be taking part in the exercise over questionable academic papers. Abdallah had faked a certificate from the Kenya Methodist University, which the KEMU's vice-chancellor denied, saying he did not study in the institution. Our reporter Wangari Mwangi with more on that story.
Abdallah Mohammed, interviewing for the Independent Election and Boundaries Commissioner position, has withdrawn his application. This is after he had questionable academic credentials. The IEBC selection panel, in a statement on Wednesday, said they wrote to the Kenya Methodist University on July 28 seeking verification of Mohammed's degree that was allegedly awarded in July 2007. KEMU Vice-Chancellor wrote back on July 1, denying that the applicant pursued tertiary education at the institution. IEBC panel then informed Mohammed via email on Tuesday, July 6, to which he responded that he will not attend the interview today. The panel, chaired by Dr. Elizabeth Muli, will interview the 36 candidates starting today, July 7th. The panel will interview 3 candidates daily for 12 days. The panel shall then retreat after completion of the interviews to consider the performance of the candidates and present the names of the nominees to President Uhuru Kenyatta for appointment. The electoral agency is looking to fill 4 vacant positions following the resignation of former IEBC Vice Chairperson Conin Kadha, Commissioners Paul Kurgat and Margaret Mwachanya in April 2018, and former IEBC Commissioner Roslyn Akombe, who quit before the repeat of the presidential election in October 2017. Wangari Mwangi, Lookup TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Wangari Mwangi. Now we move on to matters health. Kenya's fight against malaria, tuberculosis and HIV has received a major boost after the signing of a global fund grant of 48 billion shillings. The 3-year grant will be implemented between July 2021 and June 2024. The grant is expected to support initiatives to find missing people, ensuring patients on treatment adhere to medication, community case management of malaria, and mitigating the impact of COVID-19 on HIV, TB, and malaria. Even as the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA, has once again been put on the spot by international donors, with the head of the Global Fund, Mark Eddington, asking the government to fully commit itself in ensuring that the medical supplier undergoes positive reforms. Right, and let's move on. President Uhuru Kenyatta was on the move at the wee hours of the morning, launching projects in Mukuru, Kunjenga and Kwaruben here in Nairobi, a thing that has never been seen before. Our reporter Jefferson Mwai took a look at your reactions.
This was President Uhuru Kenyatta's and NMS Director General Mohamed Mbadi's entourage spotted on Wayaki Way, heading to Mukuru Kwaruben to launch night projects, incident that has elicited a lot of reactions. Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen comments on a photo and asks, curfew, mask and social distance, for who? Peter Kariuki says, Uhuru will go down in history as one of the best performing presidents ever. While everyone else was asleep, he was busy working for Nairobians. In addition, Abraham Mutai said, good photo for the night. While you were sleeping, Uhuru Kenyatta launched 5 newly built hospitals in Nairobi, fully equipped, staffed, and operational for 24 hours. Kimani Osoro also added, our president is that guy. Commissioned hospitals are level 2 and level 3 hospitals. This is commendable. UHC is achievable.
Thank you. And we move on. Private companies will have to compete for the service, of the contract to run Kenya's upcoming bus rapid transport, also known as BRT system. The government says it will soon start accepting proposals from qualified companies, and fast 300 BRT buses are expected to hit the road in February 2022. Here's Waris Kimathi with the details.
Private companies will have to compete for the service contract to run Kenya's upcoming bus rapid transport system, also known as BRT system. The Nairobi Metropolitan Area Authority, NAMATA, which is the government body in charge of the revolutionary project, says that the BRT will be operated through a 12-year-long transport service contract, also known as a concession contract, and interested firms will have to submit proposals for their consideration. The authority's acting director general, Francis Gitau, has told reporters that they have already kickstarted the due process and promises that 300 BRT buses will be on the road by next February. BRT bus project was first introduced in 2015 as a way to ease Nairobi's long-standing traffic problem. The bus rapid transport system, which has been implemented in countries such as South Korea, Colombia, and neighboring Tanzania, involves using dedicated lanes and buses to decongest traffic in busy cities. Since 2015, the commencement of the project has been postponed severally, with only a small fraction of the promised work progress being achieved today. In Nairobi, the buses will operate within 6 special corridors, according to NAMATA officials. These corridors will be on the JKIA to Likoni Road, Bomas to Ruiru Road, Ngong Road, Juja, Mama Lucy, Timol, and Imara roads. The buses will ferry up to 100 passengers per trip and are expected to be a game changer for the public transport sector in Kenya. Waris Kimathi, Lookup TV, Nairobi.
And that report by Waris Kimathi takes us to our very fast break here on Trending News. But keep your comments and feedback coming in. I will be reading them at the tail end of this bulletin. Don't go too far.
You're watching Lookup TV. Want to grow your business? Broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries? Then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542.
700 893 542.
Or email us on sales@look-up.tv.
You guys have to tweet about this.
What phone is this? Hey, looks good. How much is it?
You haven't heard of the Optiven offer?
No.
I must excuse you, invest too. Optiven has this amazing offer. If you make a commitment of 900k in any of their value-added projects, you get rewarded with a cool smartphone, bro.
Welcome to Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we'll be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable, and worthwhile experience. Here at Look Up Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 88 707.
Welcome to the Natural Juicing Center. We are a unique organization that seeks to provide the community with an alternative healthcare option. We specialize in the use of a natural holistic system that focuses on building health through cleansing and nourishing of the body. We utilize a variety of natural health promoting methods in our services, which include juicing therapy, hydrotherapy, colon cleansing, massage therapy, and a comprehensive cleansing service, among others. Our juices are freshly made and tailored to each and every client's individual needs after evaluation by our team through our free consultation service. You can now book for any service or order for food supplements on our website www.naturaljuicingcenter.co.ke. You can also visit our center in Kahawa Sukari, house number 1334, Kahawa Sukari Avenue. Natural Juicing Center. Your health is your wealth.
You're watching Look Up TV.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Look Up TV. The hashtag is trending news. Nancy Nalima here, ready to give you stories that are making headlines in Kenya, Africa, and the rest of the world. Moving on, Tuesday marks the 31st Sabasaba anniversary, coming at a time of great political apprehension in the country, in the throes of an economic meltdown and in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. With the general elections just less than a year away, political formations, apprehension and frustrations of those that dare to speak a different voice has taken center stage. Is the struggle still on to rid the country of the Moi era that lives in the shadows of our democracy? Brian Moi takes a look at the journey 31 years later on.
The year is 1990, the month of July, the day 7th, a day known as Sabasaba. The Sabasaba political rally of July 7th, 1990 at Nairobi's Kamukunji grounds is a historic meeting that marked the watershed in the clamor for restorations of multi-party democracy in Kenya. It was a turning point and a pinnacle of Kenyan politics. Sabasaba Day is remembered as the day in when nationwide protests took place. On 7th July 1990, Kenyans took to the streets to demand for free elections. However, the then KANU regime was not ready for opposition politics. The government could not license the meeting to take place. Organizers were arrested in a bid to stop the rally, which nonetheless took place amid bloody scenes, which left several people killed, hundreds injured. Several opposition leaders were arrested and detained. The politicians who had called for the protest, Kenneth Matiba and Charles Rubia, were arrested days before the protest day. Other organizers of the day, such as Njeru Gashagu, George Anyona, Raila Odinga, James Orengo, and others, were beaten up and detained by the then tyrannical dictator, President Moi. In present-day Kenya, Sabasaba has taken on a new meaning. With human rights defenders and civil society organizations asking for respect of the constitution, an end to police brutality and killings, advocating for a favorable legal and policy environment in Kenya.
Sitasimama maovu ya kitawala, sitasimama maovu ya kitawala. Konja tasiwe vikaranga, uwe hae.
Fast forward 31 years down the line, while marking the anniversary of the Sabasaba, the script remains the same. Just a different generation of protesters, and the very brutality that they fight against is what they face on the same day. The Kenyan police unlawfully tear-gassed and arrested activists who had taken to the streets to demand basic rights. Among other things, food for all, lifting of partial lockdown, vaccine for all, fulfilling Article 43 of the Constitution, immediate end of police killing and brutality and state depression, access to free and quality healthcare for everyone, provision of clean water for everyone and immediate suspension of rent, equitable access to jobs for everyone and an end to mass unemployment, access to free quality education for everyone, immediate end to gender-based violence and femicide, right to land for everyone, immediate scrap of increased taxes on fuel and other items, provision of menstrual hygiene products for all women. The original Sabasaba goes down in history for radically opening up the country's democracy. The question, however, is, will marking the day ever be to appreciate the far we have come or give a new plight after those in power undermine the success achieved? Brian Amwai, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Brian Moy, for that very detailed report, just taking us down memory lane to the second liberation. And now that we have it, are we really enjoying it? Talk to me. The SMS number is 20374. Moving on, the Nairobi City Water Company has announced a shortage of water in various parts of Nairobi to allow the upgrade of their pumping systems in Uhuru and Dagoretti. The company says that the shortage, which will affect residents between today and tomorrow.
A section of Nairobi residents will be experiencing water shortage for the next 2 days. This follows as the Nairobi City Water Company announced that there will be a water shortage in various areas in Nairobi. The water company added that there will be an upgrade which will be conducted at their pumping station in Dagoretti and Uhuru and will lead to a shortage of water services in the following areas. The areas that will be affected with the water shortage are Gatanga, Amboseli Road, in Sunset Estate and around Sunset Estate, Kawangware 56 and 46, Lower Congo, Riruta, Satellite, Kagondo, Mihuri Road, Upper Kibiria, Kihuho, Gina, Kikuyu, Waidaka, and Duaru, Mashauria Road, including areas around it, will be affected. Other areas will be Gachui Kirigo, Dagoretti Market, Mariunguni, and Karen will also experience the same. The water company urged that those living in the mentioned areas to use the remaining water sparingly so that they avoid exhaustion, which might help in surviving the 2 days. Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Orlando Billy, for that report. And now I take you around the world. A British teenager has been convicted of the killing of 2 sisters who were stabbed in a park. Authorities say that this was part of a pact he believed he had made with demonic forces to kill at least 6 women every 6 months in exchange for a future lottery win. Roger Muriuke with more on international news.
You're under arrest. Come out of your dress. Keep walking towards me. Keep walking towards me. Stay where you are, stay where you are, stay where you are. Hands on your head, stay where you are. Face me. Hands on your head, stay where you are. You're under arrest, all right?
The teenager, identified as Danielle Hussein, now 19 years old, stabbed to death Biba Henry, a 46-year-old woman, and her sister Nicole Smallman of 27 years. Police said Danielle savagely attacked the two sisters in a country park in northwest London in June last year after they had celebrated Henry's birthday with friends. Prosecutors told the jury during the 4-week trial that the 19-year-old defendant stabbed Biba Henry 8 times before launching a relentless attack on her sister, Nicole Smallman, who was stabbed 28 times. Police identified the suspect by tracing DNA from his weapon and blooded glove, both of which were left at the scene after he cut himself. The police arrived at his home where they found more evidence linking him to the crime, including a note that was assumed to be the contract between the killer and a demon known as Lucifuge Rofokal. In the note, Hussein pledged to perform a minimum of 6 sacrifices every 6 months and to sacrifice only women. In exchange, the purported agreement said Hussein should win the Mega Millions super jackpot and receive fruitful rewards in return for future sacrifices. It also said police would never learn about his crimes and that he would never get in trouble for them. The so-called demonic pact did not work out, and neither did Hussein win the lottery. The victim's mother, Mina Smallman, a retired Church of England archdeacon, thanked police on Tuesday for helping to bring Hussein to justice. In other news, Sydney, home to a fifth of Australia's 25 million people, was plunged into lockdown on June 26 as a Delta variant outbreak persuaded officials to tighten restrictions in a country that has been slow to vaccinate. Strict stay-at-home orders were due to end on Friday, but now remain in place until July 16th. With Sydney fighting its worst outbreak of the year so far, total infections have topped 350 since the first case was detected 3 weeks ago. Officials have said that the Delta strain is extremely transmissible and more contagious than any other form of the virus that they had ever seen. Lockdowns, swift contact tracing, and high community compliance with social distancing rules have helped Australia suppress past outbreaks and keep its COVID-19 numbers relatively low, with just over 30,800 cases and 910 deaths. The current lockdown is Sydney's second since the pandemic began. And finally, in Asia, as Myanmar heads into another civil war, the police are under intense pressure to decide which side to side with. Since the February 1st military coup, the police have been used to brutally suppress mass protests. Some protesters, however, have taken up arms to retaliate, forming civilian militias known as the People's Defense Forces. Roger Muriuki, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Roger, for that report, and not very good news around the world. And we just hope that this is a challenge to us to choose to be better humans. And now moving on to sporting action. England are preparing to face Denmark in the semi-finals of Euro 2020 at Wembley on Wednesday, knowing victory will secure them a place in a major men's tournament final for the first time since 1966. Ocheng Sylvian with more on the sports.
Gareth Southgate's side will face Italy final if they defeat the Danes in front of around 60,000 most England fans at Wembley. Millions more are expected to cheer the Three Lions on from home in pubs and designated fan parks. A peak of TV audience of 20.9 million was them cruise past Ukraine 4-0 in the quarter-final last Saturday. Travel restrictions imposed by the UK to curb the spread of coronavirus means fans based in Denmark will not be able to cheer their team at Wembley. Instead, some 6,000 tickets for the semi-finals have been made available to Danes living in the UK. The Danish FA has sent 1,000 jerseys and other red and white merchandise to London for fans attending. England, who have never won any European Championship, are looking to reach first major tournament final for 55 years. They have appeared in 5 previous World Cup and European Championship semi-finals, but only advanced once. Ocheng Sylvian, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Ocheng Sylvian, for that sporting action. And we've come to the end of the broadcast. But before I go, I will be reading your feedback. And Wanjiro Gosha says she's watching from Dagoretti. Thank you. The president is really overworking, this Simon says. And Brano Kechamai says this man Uhuru is using his second term well. He only has a few months left. Those months, if used well, may change how his administration is being viewed right now. Thank you, Brian Mwai. And Billy Orlando says, good job, Mr. President. Ombinyo Kabe says, Uhuru Kenyatta finally saving his image. He's not overworking at all. If we'd seen this from the beginning of his time, then it would have been overworking. But I guess she means it's not. And of course, my favorite segment of trending news is reading what's trending at this hour. Trending with over 1,800 tweets is Caroline Kangogo. Now, this is what people are calling the killer cop, quotes and quotes. She allegedly murdered a cop on Saturday, and another man 24 hours later. She is on the run right now, and the DCI office has alerted Kenyans and told them just to be careful in case they run into her, then they report to the relevant authorities. And of course, Haiti is also trending. Now, the president, Moise, was assassinated by unidentified gunmen at his home. The prime minister has just confirmed that the Haiti president, Moise, has been shot and by unidentified gunmen. So our condolences to the Haitian people. And that's it from us here on Trending News. I am Nancy Nalima. Thank you so much for watching. Do keep it Lookup TV.
We value your feedback.